Good morning. It's DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up, we're out of here early today, PK.
We are?
Yes, we are. Why do you say it like that?
Oh, good for us. An hour early. You know, I don't really care.
Because?
Because doing an hour of radio is nothing.
It really isn't. So it's not heavy lifting.
Every day's I'm out of here early. Every day's a day off. I look up every freaking day. Literally every day I look up, wow, it's already 9 o'clock. Yeah.
Well, coming up today at 2 o'clock, we got Boise State and Utah State.
Right.
That game's on CBS, national TV. The whole country gets to see it.
Oh, I'll be watching.
Who's going to the Mountain West Conference title game? Unfortunately, not Utah State. But they got a say in it because Boise State, 3.5-point favorite, has a chance to get to the title game. This is not your grandpa's Boise State Broncos. They are 7-4 this year. They are vulnerable. They've had multiple quarterbacks. We can get to that. They have scored points, though. They're averaging 32 points a game. Utah State's averaging 31 points a game. They're two of the top three scoring offenses in the league. So do you anticipate first team to 30 wins this one?
No, because against good teams with the quarterback change, the kid from American Fork, Madsen, has been hurt. This is a long shot to play. And you look at, okay, they put 49 on CSU. Whoop-de-doo. CSU fired the coach. Yeah. And the two games before, granted, San Diego State has an outstanding defense. They've proven it all season long. They only scored a touchdown. Fresno's pretty good defensively, only scored a touchdown. So if you go the Fresno game, which is the most recent in our memory, so it's easy to do, it looks like Utah State has a chance to at least certainly minimally give these guys a game defensively. We talked to Bronco about this earlier in the week. His defense has been a lot better. He talked about how it clicked in around mid-season, and you just look at the last two defensive performances of the defense holding Vegas down. That was overtime. Well, they got 29, but that was inflated because of the overtime, right? And Vegas had been a prolific offensive team. They are to offense what San Diego State has been to defense in the Mountain West, and the Aggies really held them down, and then they allowed 0 points, right, in the second half against Fresno. So this defense clearly is playing far better than it did earlier in the year, and it's playing its best ball. You got a backup quarterback most likely for the Broncos, so I think that it's an opportunity to be a lower scoring game here. I'm real interested to see. Normally, if it's been the last couple seasons, you think, oh, that's going to be a blowout in this game. I'd be surprised, man. I think they got a legitimate chance. Speaking of the Aggies, to go to 7-5, which in Broncos' first year would be an outstanding accomplishment.
7-5 would be fantastic, beating a Boise State team that they've lost 9 in a row and 21 of the last 22. That would feel sweet. And just putting the exclamation point on this thing at home would be awesome.
Where they have not lost a game, right?
They have not. They are 5-0 at home. Yeah,
and I think that's important, man. If you can go 6-0 at home, there's something to be said for that, because that generates the hometown fans, the students, blah, blah, blah. I know it's Thanksgiving week, but I'm talking about the schedule in its entirety for next season. There'll be momentum, and we know the students will turn out. They turn out for basketball. It's a bigger thing. You need more for football. Mm-hmm. I understand that, but still, you can be passionate, and they are very passionate for basketball because the basketball team has put them in a position to be passionate because they win, and it's the same thing for football here. And if Bronco goes and gets 7-5, it gets a ton of momentum to go out there in the recruiting world and in the transfer world. Because, hey, if you're not playing at school X, come here and we could really use you and you could flourish. And it'll be a fun time too.
If this game is close, when it comes to kicking, and the Aggies obviously had their problems kicking the ball in Vegas, and other than that, they've been great in the kicking game. Boise State 8 of 12 on field goal attempts. When I see 12 field goal attempts, which is in the bottom quarter of the league, that tells me they don't even want to try to kick it. They know they've got issues.
Or that could tell you they finish drives with touchdowns, though.
And I think they do finish them with touchdowns, and I think they finish it by going for it on fourth down. 12 field goals is a very, very few attempts.
Okay, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad.
Well, they're 8 of 12. That's not good.
I'm not talking about the field goal kicking. I'm talking about bad for the team. Two different things.
If they hit on those fourth down conversions, then
right.
Yeah.
It's analytics, buddy. You go argue with analytics.
They're at 57%.
I'm not arguing with
on
analytics.
The conversions. Boise State, 16 of 28.
Doesn't matter.
The Aggies don't go for it very often, but when they do, they're pretty good.
What are you, like the most interesting man? Or the guy
I did think that. I thought I was going halfway down that road. They are the most interesting fourth down offense in the world. What do you think with Bryson Barnes? He's been so much of the running game. You think he can handle another week of punishment? Because he has had a lot of carries the last 2 weeks. He's taken a lot of punishment.
Yeah, this is it. The end is in sight.
He gets to play two more football
I don't think you're
games.
going to play in the NFL.
Nope.
So you're never going to have this again.
Don't rule out the CFL.
I don't know what he wants, what he's looking for in his life.
He's
and all
already
that
married.
stuff.
He's already married with a kid. We've heard this story before. It usually is time to move on and do something different.
So this is an opportunity for him. He's a tough kid. We know that. And whatever it takes. He is a classic by any means necessary kind of kid. And so he would obviously like nothing more than to go out while having won all your home games, home crowd, your Utah kid, a few hours away, but nevertheless in the state. I expect him to be at peak performance.
He's almost the team's leading rusher. He's only like 50 yards back of Miles Davis. 45 yards, it looks like, back. So his 8 touchdowns lead him on the ground. Can they run him again and just go until he can't go anymore, I guess?
Well, he'll run himself. I don't know if they'll want to run him, but
he'll call some QB draws, but he does pull it down and take off. You're right.
He'll run himself. So with that in mind, I expect him to be who he always is until he literally can't do it anymore. And I'm not anticipating that. And that's too much of a weapon to not. You have to utilize, if you want to win this game, you have to utilize all your weapons, and he is your most significant weapon. So he must. It's a requirement. In order for them to win, he has to do it. It's not a question of can he or will he, or it's a question of yes. He not only has to do it, he has to be effective doing it. Because if he's not, that really curtails their opportunities and their chances.
Well, Fresno, it was 23 carries for 113 yards, 5 yards a pop. And when you add in sack yardage, it's even more impressive. Because I'm sure he had he's given up a few yards there. Most running backs don't have to give up. And he was also 124 yards against UNLV on 22 carries. So, man, that's a lot of hits. That's 45 carries in the last 2 games. He's a full-time running back. And he's the QB.
Individually, he's as good a weapon as this conference has.
Well, and that's why Bronco said he wants him to get the offensive, player of the year.
I think you might have to win some more games, and you can only win one more.
Bronco said there's politics that goes with this, and probably have to be on a better team.
Yeah. But this would be a significant win. I think that you would potentially argue the best that they've had all season. I think last week's was very, very good. Under the circumstances of needing that game to take the pressure off as far as being bowl eligible, you've got 2 games to go. And so last week, and the way they did it, and they basically dominated the second half. That was what was super cool, is that, you talk about asserting your will and all that football cliche stuff. They did that in that game.
Mm-hmm.
They were up to the task of being as tough or tougher than what Fresno. And Fresno had a ton to play for in that game and had a 10-point lead, 17-7 at half, right? And they still did it. You factor all those things into it. Clearly, that was your best win of the season. I suppose, depending on the complexion of today's game, that could change. But right now, that was a monument. That was I don't want to go too crazy. It wasn't necessarily a program changer. I'm not going to say that, but I think it was a program builder to show everybody, hey, I'm Bronco Mendenhall. This is what me and my staff do when we coach football. We go into Fresno that's riding high, and we beat these guys, man. They are 7-3, and they had a 10-point lead at halftime at home. They're thinking they're going to win. Kurt and Brenda Warner are in the stands, and we still beat them.
I wonder how many players on the field get that. Time passes so fast. They're
Kurt and
so
Brendan
young.
Warner?
Kurt and Brendan
Well,
Warner.
the thing about Kurt is he works for the NFL Network, so he's still doing games, so he's still out there.
Yeah, he is. Brenda's a little lower profile now. But for a while, she was very high profile.
When he was a player.
Yeah.
You want to hear a story about time passing? This is a great story.
Oh, boy.
You had stepped out, and Yak had told me this story the other day, is that we have these commercials that air on our stations. With Doug Wright does it for the Ruth Chris, right? Mm-hmm. And he talks about how we got two up Park City and here downtown, blah blah blah. And so they obviously hired him. He's Doug Wright, man. He did a show for 40 years.
Right.
Wow. And somebody, I don't want to embarrass the young man on the air, hears this commercial and has heard it multiple times and says to Yak, "Who is this guy?"
Yeah. It's coming for us all, PK. Father Time's undefeated. That's just another way Father Time wins. Father Time slows down athletes. Father Time takes names like, well, you're just getting started, but you hope you have half of his career.
Yeah. This guy did it for 40 years.
I know. And how long have we been doing it?
23, 24.
Yeah.
He did it 40 years, man. And ours, gosh, I couldn't imagine. I don't pay attention too much to the political stuff. It drives me nuts. But it's not. Ours seems so much easier to do than he had to do because there's so much news. I just got to pay attention to football, basketball, baseball, and hockey, and I'm good to go. Which I've been paying attention to it my whole life. Now I'm actually getting paid to pay attention to it. I win. But you got to do all that other stuff there, and the young man did not have any clue. But I think you would know who Kurt Warner is if you pay attention to the NFL because he's still very active in that.
I think the thing, to your point about best win of the year, Fresno can't be superseded. It was too important. It was...
it can't be?
No.
But even Boise State?
I think if they beat Boise State, it becomes the twin wins that ended the year, that turned the corner. Then they stand together.
Twin wins. I like that.
Yeah. Because they, to come in and go 0-6 on the road, that's terrible. Unable to win on the road is just such a sign of weakness in a sport that is so much about toughness. They had to get a road win. And they needed to be bowl eligible. Now, granted, they could have lost that game and won this one and been bowl eligible. But they checked two big boxes when they won there. And the fact that they were down 10 at the half and they won the second half 21-0 and won the game without any last-second luck or drama, it was a definitive win. They actually took the lead kind of early to midway through the fourth quarter. Fresno State had chances to get back in it and couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The defense, they only gave up maybe 4 first downs, I think, in that second half. It was a sensational performance. Now, if you beat Boise and end this 9-game losing streak, that's, again, you're putting them back to back. It's like we've turned the corner. Here's what we did in the first 10 games. Here's what we did in the next 2. We are figuring stuff out. So I like what you said about program builder. And I think that if they do win this game, then it stands shoulder to shoulder with Fresno. Depending on the complexion of it.
The problem is if you win this game, then Boise goes to be 7-5. Well, it's clearly they had an off year. And Fresno, they got Nevada tomorrow, so we're assuming they'll win.
They'll be 8-4.
Yeah.
We assume.
So that would look 8-4, 5-3 would look like a more impressive win than beating an injured Boise team, but it's still Boise.
I know. So I think the two stand together and you figured stuff out, and nobody wants to play in a bowl game. And I would think that the Aggies don't have very many people opt out. I would think they mostly play in the bowl game. There may be a few guys who are headed the transfer portal to bigger schools for bigger paydays. So I think that would be the opt-out scenario.
Yeah, but the portal doesn't open up until January 2nd.
Right, but people have been tampering. So
but I don't know to that level.
Maybe
I don't know that
we'll
Utah
see.
State's got...
Well, then they'll have everybody.
I don't know that either. There's a lot of stuff... Basically, I don't know. Well, but I don't know that we can know about anything when it comes to that stuff.
I don't think anybody wants to play them in a bowl game. They are coming.
Nobody wants to play them?
Nobody wants to play them. And that goes for you, Ohio State. You're running scared to that little playoff thing of yours. You're frightened.
Well, we shall see on that what the matchup would be, who it would be, and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But then, man, if you get that, if that's the case, and let's just go for the premise of the argument, if that's the case, you're rolling out 8 wins in your first year.
Awesome.
Taking off a program that sucked last year, and you brought in all these new dudes.
You turned everybody over. You turned the coaching staff over. Yeah.
Wow.
I agree.
That would be phenomenal. I wasn't even thinking bowl wins, but now that you brought it up, Yeah, that's a selling point that gives them a ton of momentum. Yeah, and it's so important, too, because they're up there, obviously removed from the metropolitan area down here, and the people up there really want to support that team.
Mm-hmm.
It's their identity. I can recall my kid is playing Little League football, right? And they're out on a practice field, and so there's like 20 teams out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this one guy who knew who I was, I'd go at the end, pick him up, and he may have been coaching one of the other teams. Every time, how about the Aggies? He would say it to me every time, because there's something about that.
You're the underdog. You're the little guy, the outsider. I totally get it. I know 3 or 4 Aggies, and they all have some semblance of that going on. Yeah,
it's like the way I always felt being a Sun Devil guy. They're not nationally relevant very often.
Yeah. And
we're
you're in a
buried
newsroom
behind these other teams.
Yeah, you're in a newsroom with USC fans.
That's sort of cool. In a sense.
Yeah.
I'm not some bandwagon dude here who's just going to pick some team.
That's not the bandwagon you'd pick.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if they have a moment, that's really cool because they don't have that many. And it's sort of like small townish in a sense, if that makes sense.
The key for the Aggies would be keeping somebody there and building it up so that more of the Aggies who move back to the Wasatch Front after school stay connected and go up there. And I think they've made some progress, but there's obviously a lot more to be made.
Right, but I don't think Bronco's going to go anywhere. I'd be shocked at his age.
The question is, how long will he coach? And will they follow it up with someone who's really good?
Well, that remains to be seen.
Right.
Who knows? But I think he goes at least another 5.
Even with Matt Wells, who had a pretty long run there, it was up and down. Yeah. There was a big year, there's a mediocre year, there's
Matt
a bad
Wells
year.
had stars in his eyes, though.
He did.
He was looking to get out at the first chance.
He did.
And he took a Texas Tech job, which was not a good job at the time.
Right. Yeah, his timing on that wasn't great.
Right. It's a whole different ball of wax now. Which is why then when McGuire took that job, why he probably got the job, because it wasn't a great job. He didn't have the credentials to have a great job.
And then everything changed.
Well, then the world changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a guy named Cody Campbell says, Joey, I'm your best friend. You absolutely are.
Write me some checks.
Yeah, and away they go. Certainly with this year. The rules will change a little bit for next year, so it'll be interesting because Texas Tech has so many one-and-done dudes that they brought in specifically for this season, and it worked out.
They'll have money.
Great. It reminds me of like the perfect storm that came together when Durant signed with the Warriors.
Yeah.
There was an opportunity there. They took advantage of it. They won 2 titles. Same thing this year with Tech. We'll see what they can do going forward.
Well, the thing with Tech, and this is for another segment, the thing with Tech is you can bring in more players. Will you get it right? Obviously, we see other teams, other sports, you don't always pay the right guy. And then in football, even if you get it right, they have to stay healthy. And then also, it's such a team game. They do seem to be feeding off each other, some kind of camaraderie, and their talents complement each other.
They came in and it was a now or never for these guys.
Right. But it doesn't mean that when you
binded them immediately.
So you can add water, stir, and the cake turns out great. Yeah. But the next time you add water and stir, the cake may not turn out great.
But it's going to be different. You can't just target the one guys, pay them an enormous amount of money. The money will be a little more equal with the rules, so there'll be other schools. Yeah. They literally, you can read the story, they told David Bailey, the stud, we will give you way more money. Mm-hmm. You need to take this phone call. And he took it, and then he goes there. And their recruiting has been incredible, but it'll be interesting to see the recruits coming next year. Will they be able to have that immediate impact?
Right.
Because they'll still be young. The guys they brought in, none of these guys were young.
No,
they were all veterans in the game.
Ready to win now.
And they did win 8 games last year, so they had a nice starting point. It wasn't a total rebuild. You win 8 games in a season, that's something that you can build on a lot better, obviously, than if you only win 2 or 3. And so that's the situation.
All right, well, that's for them to figure out down the line, and Bronco will have a slightly different deal to figure out here. The problem in the Mountain West is the better you play, the more people want to pick off your top-end players. So,
I think that's sure, but the more you can get people to come to your place, too.
And that'll be the trick.
You can be up and down in that way, literally.
Yep. And that'll be the trick.
Maybe they get Sam Levitt next year.
Come on now.
He wants to play where his brother played.
Come on now.
You never know, because you never know who's going to. Football is a hard sport to predict who's going to be great and who's going to be overrated and not pan out and transfer 2 other times.
All right, DJ and PK, a lot of football coming up today. Utah is at Kansas at 10 a.m. We got the pregame show coming up at 9 a.m., and then the Aggies play at 2 p.m. So plenty of football here on the day after Thanksgiving. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Good morning, it's DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. PK.
Yeah.
The University of Utah wraps it up today in Kansas. You know, a question when you're talking to someone, because I don't know if they'd want to answer this on camera. Maybe they would. This is the second year in a row they played on the road on Thanksgiving weekend. I wonder if they did some survey of their fans, or at least the high-end boosters, and like nobody really wants to go to a home game on Thanksgiving weekend. Have they requested these? Put us on the road on Thanksgiving. We don't care. No, not to mine either, but I haven't asked.
I think it stinks.
Yeah. You want home games.
Yeah. If I'm a coach, a player, or they've got so many support staff members, that's another reason why I'd want BYU and Utah on this week. At least you can have some semblance of a Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. Because if you're home, you're home. And if you're away, you're still home.
Yeah, the road team in the BYU-Utah game doesn't have to go anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you play on Saturday, you could just have your regular routine, and Thanksgiving can be what it is. Mm-hmm. And then you drive up on Friday, stay at the hotel, blah, blah, blah. It's
one advantage if they do, and this is very preliminary as far as we know, but if they were to go to a Wednesday night game, which Mark Harlan, the athletic director, told us, is one of the things they're looking for unique TV windows, because that's where they get the best ratings and create the most value and can get the most money back from the TV networks. What about Wednesday? What about Wednesday before Thanksgiving? I think that's actually a brilliant idea, as long as they give them a bye the weekend before. I think a Saturday to Wednesday turnaround would suck. I know the NFL does Sunday to Thursday, but a lot of those Thursday games are bad. A lot of the players complain. Put a bye in front of it, play on Wednesday, and literally everybody can fly home on Thursday. You get from California, Texas, whatever. You can get on a plane and go home, unless you're in the conference title game, I guess.
Right.
But you could go home. Hey, we'll figure out the bowl game in 2 weeks. Everybody go home.
Well, they could drop you off at the charter Wednesday night.
That they could. Yeah.
Just have, just several places.
And all these players. This is so old school, me thinking that players would be flying commercial. They got their NIL money onto their charter jets.
I once had that, spent 14 hours in the Dallas airport. The Utes played Texas in basketball on the 30th of December. Uh-huh. And 31st, we got out of Austin on time, got to Dallas, and that there was a work stoppage with the pilots, and the snow came in, and literally 14 hours, and we were on the plane, and in those days I was a beat writer, so I'd get upgraded all the time, and if I wanted, I could have just gotten as sloshed as I possibly wanted, because they sit you in first class, and we sat there for like 2 hours.
And they bring you free booze?
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, well.
I did decline the alcohol.
So you're just sitting on the plane doing nothing?
Yeah, and then they time out, and we had to get on, and they had no more planes.
They unloaded you off the plane?
Oh, multiple times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That I could handle. I don't want to sit in the steel tube for very long.
Yeah.
I got the whole claustrophobia.
Oh, I understood. But we weren't hadn't pulled out. We were waiting for a crew.
Yeah.
And the crew didn't come because there was a work stoppage too. And finally there was, and because of Delta being the hub here, there were only a few people that had Salt Lake City as their final destination. So finally at about 2 a.m, they had a flight going to Vegas, and they told if you were only going to Salt Lake and getting off, you can get on that plane. And so the plane diverted. We went to Vegas, dropped them off, or maybe we went here first. I don't remember.
Whatever got you home.
Yeah. And my wife literally came and picked me up like 4:30 in the morning, which then would have been New Year's Day morning. So
Brutal.
Yeah, I know.
Brutal. You know how you get offered the vouchers if you get off the plane when it's overbooked? That doesn't seem to happen as much as it used to.
It still happens.
It still happens, but not as much.
I've done it.
Yeah. I did it one time, and it forced me into a 7 or 8 hour wait in Dallas. And I remember thinking, okay, I did it. And I got quite a bit. I wasn't going to do it. You know, they offered $250. I think it got up to like $500.
Oh, you can bid.
I finally figured, all right, $500. I'll volunteer.
But you don't never take their first offer.
I didn't.
But you can literally bid yourself.
And just say, if he goes to this number, then this is, I'll do it.
Yeah, if you get it up to 500, I'll do it.
Yeah.
You can bid. I've done that.
Okay.
So expert travelers have told me to do that.
Yeah, okay. Well, I just did the one time, and that was a long day. I mean, I think I read everything there was to read in the Dallas airport.
Oh.
I read every magazine, every newspaper. I was traveling by myself. I was with a team, and the team, and it was so like a few media people, and they went on. It was when I was in Santa Barbara. So...
Yeah, I had a great opportunity once flying. I took my family down to California. Mm-hmm. I think it was for a vacation. I don't think it was for work. So it was the four of us. And so we're on Delta, and they're offering like $500 a person to take the next flight, which literally is an hour and a half. But you could only do it if Salt Lake was your final destination. So we quickly did it. I ran up there. Yeah, we got 4. And by the time they do the paperwork, blah, 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 the next flight's boarding.
Nice. And you got how much?
Like $500 apiece.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was lucrative.
Yeah, we took the family and my mother back to Jersey for this.
$2,000 in airline vouchers. Very well played.
Yeah.
So we digress a little bit here because there just isn't that much to say about this game, is there? I mean, Utah's going to dominate Kansas.
I think Kansas can put a scare into Utah.
By throwing the ball? Because Utah's not going to let them run it, right?
Well, I think their quarterback is elusive. Mm-hmm. And so he can create something. He's got the 2 state of Kansas quarterbacks.
Can both run.
Yeah.
Yep.
Avery Johnson being one and Daniels being the other at Kansas. And both of these teams, in my mind, have had disappointing seasons. I thought they had the chance, didn't know it, but I thought they had the chance to be better than what they've shown.
8 wins. Maybe 9.
Yeah. And with that in mind, because it hasn't been what you had hoped for, wanted, and all that type of stuff, why not then at home beat a top team in the conference who's having an outstanding season? And clearly the Utes are having an outstanding season. Yeah, so they're both Kansas State and Kansas 5-6.
Right.
Now K-State is 4-4. KU is 3-5. So you have a difference as far as the league, but the overall records are the same, and I had them higher.
Well, K-State much higher. Kansas a win or 2 higher. They have been good at home. You know, they're 4-2 at home, and now that includes a gimme money game. So they beat Fresno at home pretty solidly to open the season. West Virginia is terrible. They played West Virginia in September when West Virginia was terrible. West Virginia's been getting better, but in September they, new coach, they were still trying to get it together. They played a real tough game with Cincinnati. Your point of put a scare in them. Cincinnati won there, but it was 37-34. Sounds like a pretty wild game.
I watched that game,
and they lost to K-State at home badly, 42-17.
Right.
They thumped Oklahoma State.
But I don't think there'll be much of an atmosphere.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah,
it's holiday weekend.
Thanksgiving on a holiday weekend.
Kids go. They've already transferred, as they normally do, to basketball because that's their big sport.
Mm-hmm.
And so I certainly expect Utah to win, but I expect them to have a tougher time than I expect BYU.
Yeah, I can see that. BYU's at home.
I know.
Yeah. But
I think Kansas is better.
For their 5 wins, they haven't beaten anyone.
Kansas is better than
close.
UCF, is
right.
what I'm getting at.
Well, Kansas, I think, is they're not who we expect them to be, but it looks like they're largely who they're supposed to be. I mean, the teams they lost to, Missouri, Cincinnati, Texas Tech, Kansas State, Arizona, Iowa State. Everybody's going to win 8 games in that group except K-State.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the arc of the program.
Well, the arc of the program is up because
about
they
just
were
this year.
Terrible. So at least they've gotten to mediocre, that 5, 6, 7 win area. I mean, they're on 5 now. We'll see if they get to 6. I don't think they will, but if they do, it gives them a chance to win a bowl game and get to 7. But 5, 6, 7 puts you at mediocre. They're beating bottom feeders: Oklahoma State, UCF, West Virginia, Wagner, and Fresno in the non-conference. And all the teams that are in the 8-win and above territory, they lost to.
Yeah, Fresno's a decent win.
They are.
I just thought the program with Leipold coming in and being a builder, I had seen some progression. I thought it would be in a better spot this year.
Yeah.
And it's not.
It is not. But with an experienced quarterback and the fact it was trending up, I mean, the good news is they're now in a place where a 5-7 season is a disappointment, because they used to be in a place where it was just try to avoid 10 losses.
Yeah, but that was
it's been a while now. I know.
So to me, it's been this is a disappointing season, and they do have a rallying cry to try to beat a top team.
They're another team that's mediocre defending the run, which opens up the possibility or the probability of another big day for the Utes on the ground.
Well, they have to.
Yeah.
That's a requirement for them to win. And if you're good at something, you're probably going to be continuing to be good. If you're going to win, you're going to be good at it. I don't think there's any other way for them to win without being good at it. And every time they've won, they've been good at it. And I expect this will continue. And then I have no idea who they're going to play in the bowl game, but I expect that to be the same situation. And they will continue to be good at it, and they'll be good at it next year too.
Well, at least the mystery next year is they've got to build on an entirely new offensive line. So at least at the start of the year, that will put some mystery into it.
Right.
Now,
And there's probably 2 or 3 guys on that offensive line next year who are not on the team this year.
Right. I would think that is the case.
Because they've been doing that defensively. That'll be interesting, because if you look at the transfers, they have not been transfer heavy, obviously. They have a lot of continuity in the program, relatively. For them, maybe some years they have, but compared to some other programs, no. But most of the transfers have either been defensively or the skilled positions. Now, on offense I'm talking about, now you're going to have to rebuild the offensive line. How do you approach that? And this offensive line has, by and large, stayed healthy this year, too.
Another excellent point, yes.
And they've been fortunate in that way. Spencer Fano got hurt, but then I understand he came back.
He come back in.
So that would lead you to believe he'll play this game. Wouldn't be surprised if this is his last game, if he wants to opt out of the bowl, which seems to be far more acceptable than it used to be. I don't see why he would find a need to play in that particular bowl game. When he's going to be a first-round draft choice. You simply cannot afford any form of injury. You are this close to millions.
I would also say that from the coaching staff's perspective, how many backups do you need? How good are your current backups? How many can they step in?
I don't know that.
Do you need them to transfer out?
They haven't played that much.
100% on all of that. I would think the coaches would want all these questions. Yeah. So Fano opting out of a game so you get one game to see what you got. And it's only one game, but it's more info than they have. Because
I think Lomu would opt out too, because he's projected to be a first-round draft choice. Yeah. And I don't know about the others. But it'll be interesting to see if they hit the portal, because what they've been able to do, and Kyle has talked about this, Blake Cotton and the defensive secondary, that they've been hitting the portal in the manner you used to hear about junior college guys. Junior college guys, unless they had 3 to play 2, the whole idea was for them to be immediately available to play, or don't recruit them in the first place. And so now with some obviously openings along the offensive line, I'm wondering if they'll do that and go along that direction. If I'm going to get paid and Utah wants me as an offensive lineman, I'm going to look heavily at them, because they know how to put guys in the NFL from that offensive line. That's a fact. They're going to put minimum 2 this year. We'll see if they put more. Wouldn't surprise me if they put more. And so they probably can get some guys to where it's a rebuild, but it's not a total start from scratch in 26.
So that would be useful for the bowl game. But first things first, go destroy Kansas. It was fun to win the way they won, but I think it would really be good to go out here in the 12th game with a 20-point win.
I don't see any reason why. I do think Kansas should be able to put the ball in the end zone a couple of times.
So 42-20.
Yeah, the offense has been so prolific, man.
Yep, they're 40 points a game.
And as I said all week, it was overlooked what the offense needed to do. I mean, the defense gets a stop on that next to last possession. Obviously, got the stop at the last possession, but Kansas State was up against the clock with, they were pressured, so they probably weren't going to get all the way down the field anyway. But the other time, the next to last possession, when if they get a couple of first downs, they really put Utah in a difficult situation. Well, they don't. They go 3 and out and punt. But then we just overlooked the fact that Utah's offense went right down the field.
Yep.
And virtually with ease. And that gets overlooked. That, under the circumstances, I can argue that was the best offensive performance in the entire season, because there was no need for the defense of the other side say, forget it. Like, you can make the excuse with the Devils. It was raining. It was miserable. We don't have our quarterback. We got no chance here. Well, that wasn't the case with Kansas State. The weather was fine. You had the lead. You had the lead late in the game. And the offense for the Utes still went down and put it on them. You have to really credit them, and I think that somehow they're getting overlooked in that particular performance. But when we step back and evaluate the 25 season, I think the explosiveness of the offense is going to be a huge story. And Kyle was asked about it on Monday, and he gave Jason Beck an A+. Now, I don't know what an A+ feels like, but that's about the highest you can get.
Utah, number 2 in the conference, number 6 in the nation, 42 points a game.
Yeah.
Those are big, big numbers.
Right.
Texas Tech, obviously, number 1 in the conference.
Yeah.
But really not much more. I mean, 42.6. So
no, those two have been the whole season.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Indiana and Tennessee also having big seasons. North Texas is number 1 at 46 points a game. And still with a chance to be the G5 team that gets into the playoff. All right, DJ and PK, there you go, Ute fans. Kickoff coming up today, Utah and Kansas, a Friday game to wrap things up for the Utes. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. The Utah Jazz are back in action tonight. PK, are you ready?
For Jazz basketball? Especially after they've had 4 days off?
They haven't played since the game at Golden State. And they only played half a game there. I'm
glad they have off, and they give them this time off because it's the holiday, and I'd much rather have them have 4 days off now than in January or February.
Yeah, when we got nothing going on. Yeah,
not as much.
We got holiday, and we got football. Yeah, you get out there in February or March, and it gets a little thin.
Right.
Jazz and the Kings tonight, and the Jazz have lost 4 in a row. And PK, this game and the Brooklyn game that's coming up Thursday, Brooklyn will be in town, are the only 2 games. Maybe they could win. When you play a team twice back-to-back, you often split. But one of the better teams in the league, Houston, is playing one of the worst teams in the league, Jazz. That's when he gets swept. So I'm thinking there's really only a couple of good opportunities to win between now and the first of the year. And although most Jazz fans want them to lose, a 15 or 20 game losing streak is brutal to go through. But they're sitting at 4. I think the heat is on to win tonight and to beat Brooklyn on the 4th. I'm looking at the rest of the schedule. You just want to go with your gut instinct here?
Oh, I think on the 7th they can get OKC.
Why do you think that? After watching OKC spot them in
win 80 games this year or what?
Apparently. Their schedule has been really easy, and I think they're good.
Yeah, but they're playing without Cody's brother, who's really good. Didn't he make the All-Star team last year?
They are. They've mostly played
the wrist surgery recuperating from?
They've mostly played teams that are going to miss the playoffs so far.
Okay.
The schedule will toughen up.
But
to your point, they're really good, and they're not going to lose.
I'm done with the buts on OKC.
They're not going to lose a lot of games. Yeah. I also don't think that they're going to win 95% of their games this year.
Maybe if they wanted to.
As for your Utah Jazz, you got Sacramento tonight. Then you got Houston twice on Sunday and Monday.
I think they lose both of those.
Okay. And then Thursday against Brooklyn. That's obviously a winnable game in Brooklyn to start the road trip.
Well, but that's what Brooklyn thinks, too.
They do. Friday, they go cross town, go over to MSG and play the Knicks.
That's a brutal trip.
Yeah, they just fly back to New York, play 2 games, and fly back home.
No, but I mean going from Brooklyn to New York.
Oh, from Brooklyn to New York. I thought you meant they fly from Utah to New York, play 2 games, and then fly back to Utah.
You got to go over a bridge.
Yeah, that's true. Which one? Brooklyn? Manhattan?
I think it's the Brooklyn Bridge. Yeah,
Okay.
You got the Hudson, and then you got the East River there. So the Manhattan thing is kind of like on an island.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you got to go over there.
I just didn't know which bridge. There's multiple bridges there.
Oh yeah,
It's either the Brooklyn Bridge or the Manhattan Bridge.
George Washington Bridge. To get into the city from Jersey.
Jersey's on the other side.
Been on that bridge a million times. The others not as much, but that should be that's an opportunity to get that thing to get a nice win there, and really for this team, any win is nice. The Knicks, I think the Knicks are overrated this year.
Agreed. Coaching change has changed everything. A couple changes to the roster, and everything went right last year. Everything went right, and they peaked. That was the best version of the Knicks. But I still think the Jazz lose that game back to back.
I would probably go along that way. Then it wouldn't shock me if they got both.
They have the Thunder at home. They have a couple games in here we don't know. There's a week in the schedule where the teams that don't make it to the NBA Cup quarterfinals, they'll put out some games there.
The Lakers, man, play them 3 times real quick.
I know. The Magic at home.
I think the Magic are starting to come around.
At Denver on the 22nd.
I think the Denver Nuggets are starting to come around.
These last 5 years. The home to Memphis.
Memphis is winnable.
Home to Detroit.
Detroit's playing extremely well.
At San Antonio.
Well, is Big Vic back?
They've been out there. Their 1, 2, and 4 picks. Although they've won some games without those 3 guys.
Yeah.
Harper's been out. They've missed him for a while. They've missed Castle for a while. Obviously, Wembanyama. The Celtics on December 30th, and then the Clippers on New Year's night, January 1st.
Clippers got to get some payback. They got embarrassed in Game 1.
Right, and that will be the first of a 4-game road trip with
It's
the Clippers.
So hard to predict at the NBA level because you never know who's available and who isn't.
And that would be their hope to win some of those games. That month of December looks really difficult. So
right, but you're assuming all the Jazz guys are there.
I am. Beat the Kings tonight.
You don't know that.
Beat Brooklyn and Brooklyn. And other than that,
all of a sudden, Markin has turned into an Iron Man.
Well, that's because his problems weren't physical. They're in the front office. We need him to sit.
Well, they might need him to sit this year.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. That'll do it for us. We are out of here an hour early today because the Ute pregame show is coming up next. The Utes will kick off at 10, and then the Aggies kick off at 2 o'clock. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.